Broke all the graves. One grave, no matter how much they try to break, they couldn't break his grave. They couldn't touch it. They tried to break it, they couldn't touch it. One Arab got so scared, he stood guard by the grave. He said this has to be some kind of mufti, some sheikh. He was standing guard by it. After the Jordanian War in 1967, when the Israelis came back, his grandchildren came and they found an Arab washing his grave. He's like, what are you doing over here? He said, I'm taking care of his grave. I myself saw in my eyes, no matter how much they try to break it, they try to burn it, they try this, nothing ever happened to us. So I said, this guy has to be something holy, I'm going to take care of it. Yeah. So I had the zechut to visit over there and pray over there.
And after that, they still didn't realize.
Well, the Arabs they say they're Pere Adam. They're Pere Adam.
Well,
there's no Chabad, it's all vak. It's all animalistic urges, you know? But many Arabs, believe it or not, I don't want to give them kaf zechut, but they are chasidei umot haolam, you know? They do believe in that, they do keep the 7 mitzvot b'nei Noach. The 7 mitzvot of b'nei Noach, correct or incorrect?
Yeah, that's true.
The only problem is they kill themselves.
Not all of them.
That's exactly the point, you know, you don't know which one.
Whoever doesn't kill himself.
So, let's start the shiur, okay? Welcome to the HELULA, Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya. I'm very excited to be here with you tonight. You know, they say when a person does mitzvot, he either does it with kavanah or he does it without kavanah. What's with kavanah, without kavanah? When a person does a mitzvah with kavanah, the lowest level is what? You're wearing tefillin. I know right now that I'm wearing tefillin. Some people could be praying and suddenly, you know, you realize you're praying like you're at the end of Shemona Yisrael already. You're like, how did I get there? Your mouth is just moving, but you don't know how you got there. That's called prayer velo kavanah. When you pray with kavanah, when you put the mitzvah with kavanah, you're aware of the mitzvah that you're doing. By the way, Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya, in his book Minchat Yehuda, which is his famous sefer, he writes over here that he saw in his eyes when a person does a mitzvah, what happens? How the holy spark comes out of the klipa, and he says, and he testifies in his book, we're not going to get into it today, Minchat Yehuda, that he testifies that if a person does a mitzvah without a kavanah, not only isn't he mitaken, he doesn't fix, he's actually making it worse. He's actually making it worse. He writes it over here in Parashat, I think Ekev, last week's Parashat. And where he talks about Birkat HaMazon. Do you guys know that Birkat HaMazon is a biblical commandment? And do you know there are ways to say Birkat HaMazon? The same halachot that apply to Shmona Esrei apply to Birkat HaMazon. That means lechatchila you have to say Birkat HaMazon out loud. You shouldn't say it to yourself. When you say Birkat HaMazon, it's like Shmona Esrei. In Shmona Esrei, would you dare look around? No, you know that you're praying. Birkat HaMazon is supposed to be the same thing. You could only look at your book. It's mamash like Birkat HaMazon. It's on the same level, if not even more. It's not even more. It's a deoraita. So, people say Birkat HaMazon. For example, yeshiva guys, when they say Birkat HaMazon, you see that it's like they're praying Shmona Esrei. They wear a suit, they wear a hat. You're saying Birkat HaMazon, he's doing a biblical mitzvah. Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya, how did he come to this world? This is an amazing story, and I suggest that you tell your wives these stories, or your mothers, whatever the case is. How was he born? His friend, Rabbi Shimon Agassi, was Me'i, testified about him that neshama like this didn't come to this world in many years. And he said about the Ben Ish Chai, Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya said about the Ben Ish Chai that his soul was supposed to be born in the time of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Tanaim. Just Hashem had mercy on the generation, and he kept it in the treasure chest. He kept it. How was he born? Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya had a father. His name was Moshe. Also a very big scholar. Very big in Kabbalah, Zohar, Halakha. And back then, you know, the Iraqis, also like back in the day, the Bukharians, when they used to live in the Machala, right? So you used to live with your father-in-law, mother-in-law. The wife used to move into her husband's house, right? And the husband used to live with his parents. So that's why they say when you have a son, you actually get two children, they used to say. That was the saying. You get a son and you get a daughter. Because basically the daughter-in-law became like your own daughter. And she would clean the house, do the laundry, depending on the mood of the mother-in-law. That's how it was back then. In the Bukharian world, in the Iraqi world, the Moroccan world, they used to move in with the in-laws. There was no en potze pet. That was the minhag. Sephardim, I was saying, Sephardim. There was no financial situation back then. No, they had no real estate tax and stuff like that. Don't worry about it. They were living the life. Rabbi Yehuda's mother, her name was Chana. Her mother-in-law was like a mother-in-law out of the books. A real tough cookie. She used to like to make a lot of janganozi between her son and her daughter-in-law. A lot of janganozi. She didn't do this. She's not respecting me enough. She's not this. She's not a janganozi for nothing. He loved his wife. She was a tzaddiket. So she used to come to her and says, listen, I'm not doing anything to this woman. I don't know what she wants from my life. But still, she used to make shchanozi. Because, mother loves her son. She wants to be the only woman in his life, subconsciously. And she made her life miserable. For 20, 30 years, she lived in her in-laws' house. Her life every day was miserable. Because the father, he would never take his wife's side in public. Why? Kibud avayim. I cannot say something against my mother. So when he was in the room alone with his wife, he used to say, I know this and that. What can we do? It's my mother, kibud avayim. And she used to suffer silently to herself 20, 30 years. One day, yeah. So how you say it in Russian? Svikrovka. The Svikrovka passed away. The mother-in-law passed away. And it was a sigh of relief from the Kalaz, from Marat Khana. Finally the one who's making all the Gogumagog. Shiva ends, Shloishim ends. She dreams her Ochimo. She tells her in the dream, what? It wasn't enough. 30 years, you made my life miserable. You're coming back to haunt me? Yeah, no, I'm not coming to haunt you. I'm coming to give you a present. She said to her, in Olam HaEmet, they told me I was not right whatever I did. I shouldn't have done whatever I did to you. I'm here to tell you sorry. And I'm here to give you a present. She takes out of her pocket a small treasure chest, like a jewelry box. She opens it and inside is a small gem. She take it, this is for you. She takes it and she wakes up.
It's her dream.
In her dream. 30 days later, she finds out that she's pregnant. That baby is going to be Rabbi Yehuda. That's how he was born to this world. So why did I say this story to your wives? Sometimes when you suffer silently, of course you really have to be made out of, you got to be a tough, you got to be a Gemara Ta'anit say you got to be made out of metal. But sometimes it pays off. If you keep it till the end. If you blow up in the middle, you got to start from the beginning. That's how he was born. They say, he writes himself, when he was 8 years old, the Ben Yishchai, the rabbi gives a shiur here sometimes for 40 minutes on Shabbat. The Ben Yishchai used to give a shiur for 3 hours on Shabbat. 3 hours, and nobody would talk in the middle of the shiur. 1 hour in Pshat, that's Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, 5 books of Moses. 1 hour in Halacha, Jewish laws, and 1 hour in Kabbalah. 3 hours straight he would talk, and he didn't need a microphone. He used to give a speech in a shul that fit 1,000 people. The Ben Ish Chai, 1,000 people, and everyone heard him. When he passed away, they told his son's name was Yaakov, Rabbi Yaakov. You give the speech now, Bechavot, Chacham. He started to speak, and from the back they say, we don't hear you. He started to speak louder. We don't hear you. He said, guys, what can I tell you? When my father used to speak, the Shekhinah was speaking from his mouth. God was speaking from his mouth. All you guys heard it like it was mamash like the microphone. I'm not my father. I cannot speak like him. They say once, I know I'm digressing, but once you speak about the Ben Ish Chai, you have to say one special thing. The Ben Ish Chai was once giving a speech. They had a balcony in the shul, where the woman would sit in the balcony. The balcony was made of wood. He's in the middle of his speech. He used to wear his talit. He would never take off his talit. Whoever knows a little Kabbalah, they know that in reality the talit is on a higher level than the tefillin. But since we don't comprehend the talit, the tefillin gets a higher kedusha. So he would always wear his talit. And they say that his talit would never fall off. He would never fix it. He used to put it on like glue. It would stick. He would give his speech. One day he's giving his speech, the Ben Ish Chai. And the balcony of the woman, suddenly they start to hear yelling. The balcony is falling. Mamash, falling, breaking. And a child slipped and he started to fall off the balcony. The Ben Ish Chai looked up, put his eyes on the balcony, and the balcony is starting to break. The wood is starting to break. It stops in midair. Till today, if you go to Iraq, that same shul, you're going to see that piece of wood that was breaking in midair, and the Ben Ish Chai put his eyes on it and stood midair. Till today. That was that generation of 120 years ago of those big tzaddikim. So Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya, he was a young boy when the Ben Ish Chai used to give his drashot, his speeches. He would come home every Shabbat crying to his Abba. His Abba, I said, why are you crying, my son? He says, I understand the first 2 hours. But the last hour, the secret, the Kabbalah section, I don't understand. So his father said, your neshama is so big, let me teach you. At the age of 9 years old, his father was already starting to teach him the 10 sfirot. Keter, Chokhmah, Binah, Chesed, Givorah, Tiferet. From the age of 10 years old. Him and his father, this is a bit of a scary story. When they were younger, when he was younger, him and his father was still alive. His father's name was Moshe, Rabbi Moshe. They wrote a commentary on the whole 2 most important sections of the Zohar HaKadosh, called the Idra Rabbah and Idra Zuta. Fun fact, when do we read those 2 sections? Shavuot night and Hoshana Rabbah. And every time you do a Tikkun Karet, let's say Chas v'Shalom, a person was with a Nida his whole life. He didn't know the laws of Taharat HaMishpacha. His wife wouldn't dip in the mikveh. He wants to make a Tikkun. What's the Tikkun for that? There's 2 different Tikkunim. Either number 1, you roll in the snow naked 7 times. We know you're not going to do that. Or number 2, well, you're Russian. You guys are polar bears. Yeah, whatever the case is. And the second thing, you have to stay up all night and learn Torah. Only one time you go in and out.
What about
only one time go.
How you going to reverse that?
One time going in and out.
You just said the guy put all 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow. You're going to reverse that now.
So you better start. What can I tell you? So you gotta stay up all night learning Torah. And that night that you stay up learning Torah, you must learn Idra Rabbah and Idra Zuta. You must. Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya, when he was in his early years, 20s, 30s, he was writing a pirush with his father on these 2 Zohars. But he said, his father passed away, he said, you know what? I was young. Maybe we made a mistake. He took his writing, he said, I'm not going to publish it. I'm not going to print it. He put it in his bag. He said, I'm going to die with them. I'm going to be buried with the writings. Fast forward 50 years later. 50 years later, he decides to move to Israel. Aliyah. After 50 years. He moves to Eretz Israel. Everyone hears the great Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya came to Israel. Ari alav mibavel, a lion has come from Babylon. Who comes to visit him? If you guys remember, I was saying his story on last week's Shabbat. Rabbi Avraham Ades. Whenever they used to take a picture of this rabbi, the film used to burn.
Wow.
They couldn't take a picture of him. Till today we have no picture of him. Rabbi Yaakov Ades by the Kotel is his grandson. Rabbi Avraham Ades comes to visit him. It's a big mitzvah to visit Chachamim. Comes to visit him. He tells him, Shalom Rabbeinu, Shalom, Shalom. They wouldn't, in Sfaradim, we would never call rabbis rabbis. Never. No such kind of thing. We never call them Rav, Rebbe, Rav. We used to call them Chacham. Chacham. This is the Chacham. Shalom Aleichem, a Chacham. Come inside. How do you know me? Choi, yakte stakon choi. This, that. He said to him, Chacham Yehuda, is it true that you have two perushim that you wrote 50 years ago on Idra Rabba, Idra Zuta? Is it true? He said to him, only 3 people know about this. Me, my father, and my creator. How do you know about this? He said, don't worry about it. I know.
Wow.
He says to him, you're not leaving this house until you're going to let me know. How do you know? It's nobody knows. I want to be buried with this. He said to him, listen to me very carefully, Rabbi Chacham Yehuda. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the writer of the Zohar, came to me last night and said, tomorrow a lion will come from Babylon. His name is Yehuda, Chacham Yehuda Fetaya. Tell him he wrote a commentary on my Zohar 50 years ago. How come he's not publishing it? I want him to publish it. Chacham Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya, heard that, he almost fainted. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai himself gave a haskama, approval, no, it's better, approbation to the book of Rabbi Fetaya. They start talking, but they're very Torah, mitzvot, masim tovim, talking, Torah. Suddenly, in the middle, he had a son. One of his oldest sons, his name was Shimon. But you're my dear Shovavnik, You're coming, Rabbi, Abba, he's making, sometimes, when the father's speaking, the son sees him speak, he wants the attention. So Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya wanted to give him one slap in the face. I'm talking over here. You can't speak while Abba's speaking. Rabbi Avram Ades held his hand like this. He said, don't touch him. He said, why? He says, your son is going to suffer a lot in his life. You don't have to hit him anymore. He says, how do you know he's going to suffer? Your son is the Gilgul of a tzaddik. Gilgul, reincarnation of a tzaddik that lived 100 years ago. He was a teacher of children. And every time the kids wouldn't listen, he would hit them. So Hashem sent him back in a Gilgul, and he's meant to suffer in his life because he would hit the kids too much. What are they looking in Shamayim, guys? Even if a person raises hands on kids, gets angry, sometimes you have to. But sometimes we get extra angry. Sometimes too much angry. So Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya said, so I shouldn't give him chinuch. He said, your son will be a tzaddik, but he's going to suffer a lot in his life. Don't touch him. And so it was. His son, Chacham Shimon, grew up. He had sicknesses. He was poor. He was married with kids. But he suffered a lot. He went to his father one day and said, Abba, you pray for everyone. How come you don't pray for me, for your own son? Rabbi Yehuda, he didn't want to tell him what Chacham Avram Ades told him so many years ago. He says, my son, I cannot tell you. Sod Hashem li re'av. Accept the gzera from Shamayim. His son said, no, I'm not going to let you go. How come you don't pray for your own son? He said to him, I'm going to tell you. You're the gilgul of a certain tzaddik that used to teach children and they used to hit them too much. And they used to have a lot of tina, revenge in their heart, grudge. So he said, Abba, I understood. He started to do ta'aniyot, his son, fasts. Ana, sak, efer, crying, Hashem, forgive me for this avera. 2 weeks later, Shema Yisrael, his neshama came out. Yehuda Fetaya's son.
Even future doesn't help.
He came to this world to finish this tikkun. He finished it. Shema Yisrael, Hashem, Eloheinu Hashem Echad, his neshama. Those were the tzaddikim and anshe ma'aseh of yesteryear. You think that's a story, Rabbi Isai? Do you know who Chacham Yehuda Fetaya was? I'm going to tell you a story that nobody has ever said in public. From the creation of the world till today, nobody has said this story in public. But I've searched and I've searched and I've searched, and I've come to tell you guys a story about Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya that nobody has ever said before. The only way you could know this story is if you learn his perush, his commentary on the Etz HaChaim of the Ari HaKadosh. And it's 4 books. It's 4 books. And I found this story in Shar Derusha Yatzerim, Shar Chaf Hey. Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya says something that all of us over here have to be excited when we hear this. He said, I was crying one day. When will Hashem send Mashiach Tzidkenu? When will we see the Binyan Beit HaMikdash? When will we see the Gilui of God in the Beit HaMikdash? When will we be able to serve inside the Beit HaMikdash? I was crying. Until when the Goyim will have all the Yofi and the Kavod and the Jewish people will be down? Until when will the chosen nation and Hashem is with us inside this Galut be crying? Until when we're going to have to fast Tisha B'Av? And I was learning Torah. I was learning. The tzaddikim, they don't just cry. They cry and they learn Torah. Because that's the whole point. I said this to a kid one day. It was scary. I shouldn't have said this to him. He said to me, Rabbi, we heard a lot about Gehenom. We heard a lot about it. What do you do in Gan Eden? It was a 2-hour class, and it was the last 5 minutes. I already wanted to bolt. You know what bolt means? I just wanted to get out of there. So I said to him, you learn Torah all day. He says, could you say that again? I already understood my mistake. I said, you learn Torah all day over there. He said, we don't sit on the beach, sip pina coladas, and enjoy. He says, no, that's what the Arabs do. They got 70 virgins with a pina colada, and they're in the beach all day. That's not us. That's them. He says, how could you enjoy learning Torah? That's what I'm working for? I said, oh, my dear son. I didn't say that. I should have, right? I said, Ole bache, you're still a child. Ask any person, what do you want to do? You're 30. He says, I wish I went to yeshiva. I wish I learned Torah. Your neshama is an attraction to Torah. We don't see that. You know why? Because we're too engrossed into what this one's gonna say, that one's gonna say, and if we have a house by the age of we're 40, and kids in the best yeshivot, which they don't enjoy, and we have $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 in the bank, and we have 3 properties in upstate, and that's what we're. But this is not a Musar Shiur, it's about Yehuda Fetaya. Chacham Yehuda once had a dream. In the middle of his writing his Chidushim on the Etz HaChaim, not Otzrot, Etz HaChaim, that's 3 times the size of Otzrot Chaim. In his dream, he feels God's divine presence. Mamash, like in the Beit HaMikdash. And he sees them, but he can't see their faces. Two other tzaddikim of his generation are standing on either side of him, but he can't see their face. And he feels as he's going down with God inside the klipa, inside the other side, inside the Samech Mem. Every midnight we do Tikkun Chatzot. Why? Every midnight God goes inside the destruction to take out those holy sparks that we can't take out. He takes them out. Because I knew that I was going down with the Shekhinah inside the klipa, mamash. Mamash. And I went deep until he said I got to a place called Bina de Klipa. And over there I saw the treasure chests of souls. The treasure chests of souls. There were about 50, 70 treasure chests. And I opened every single one. And they were all empty. He's writing this. The story was 80 years ago. But in the last chest, you know when you take a sack of rice and you pour all the rice out, but there's still like, those pieces stuck inside? He said in the last sack of nishamot, it was empty. They were all empty. But there was a couple of pieces, stuck inside the threading of the bag. I gotta take them out. And all of our job in this generation is to take out those couple of nishamot in that last sack. That's all of our job. That's just all we gotta do. Who could hear this kind of story and not feel Mashiach Tzidkenu in front of him? Who could hear such a thing and not be excited for the Geula? The Geula is not just something from Chabad. They weren't Mechadesh the Geula. We want Mashiach now. We've been screaming we want Mashiach now for 2,000 years. I want to tell you some story about Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya right now. You know what? I could tell stories from now until tomorrow. Let's learn something that he said. That his mouth, when you learn the Torah of a tzaddik, his mouth moves in the grave. Mamash, it moves in the grave. He's learning with you. And he blesses you. There was one lady, listen to this guys. Every day she used to light 7 candles in her house for Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya. Lilul Nishmat Chacham Yehuda ben Hana. Light 7 candles for him. One day her son was playing by the fire. Back then, everything was gas. You gotta take the gas, this, that. She put the gas on, those old pilot ovens?
Yeah.
She put the gas and she was heating up the water for the chaynik. There was no samavar. Her young son, Shovavnik, was climbing. He took the whole the chaynik and he spilled everything on him. Oh, the grandma was home. She ran, took a blanket, ran him to the hospital. They opened up the blanket. The doctor thought he's going to see right now scars, 3rd-degree burn. Like nothing was there. Miracle. That night she dreamt of Rabbi Yehuda. She said, I was the one that cooled off the water for you. I want to tell you, thank you for always lighting for me candles. Don't think that I don't see that.
Because of that.
Because of that.
Wow.
So when I tell you guys, okay, I light a candle. Ner Hashem Nishmat Adam. The candle of God is the soul of a man. Absolutely, it's important. The fire is the most spiritual thing. His son-in-law was a big tzaddik too. He died on Kiddush Hashem. Rabbi Yaakov, his name was. He died on Kiddush Hashem for his whole town not to be slaughtered by Arabs. Yeah. He was the nitzotz of Aaron HaKohen, and we have a book, couple of pages, that he had visions, him and Rav Shimon Agassi, of the tzaddikim. Ramban, Eliyahu Hanavi came to them. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rav Chaim de la Rosa came to them. We have their book, the visions that they saw. It was about to be buried. We took them out of the garbage. And they published it. These are the tzaddikim that we have to connect to. When we connect to tzaddikim, we connect to the internal life, to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. I want to tell you one small thing. This is a special thing that Yehuda Fetaya, he was mechadesh. He made this up. All from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course, from the Ein Sof. One time came to him in a dream. You know, before I'm going to say this, one other small thing. I told you guys in the beginning of the shiur, to Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya came to him in a dream, a man called Shabtai Tzvi Shem Rishayim Yirkav. He made himself a Messiah, false Messiah. He ended up converting to Islam. He died on Yom Kippur choking on a piece of pork.
Really?
Yeah.
But it was
No.
Muslim.
Yeah, Muslim. He was in a man called Bechor. He is not Bukhari. Also, Iraqis had a minhag to call firstborn son Bechor. And Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya fixed his soul. This guy was in Chibut HaKever for 2 years. 2 years. You know what kind of klipa? When he left his body, the klipa that was on top of his body was 2 amot. You know what 2 amot is? It's about 3 feet. The klipa that time was about 3 feet. So Rabbi Yehuda, I want to tell one small thing, guys. Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya asked him, what made you go off the derech? Because my parents didn't keep taharat hamishpacha. His mother never went to the mikveh. That sentence alone is worth 1,000 shiurim. 1,000 shiurim. My mother never went to the mikveh. That's what made me. And you know, he had a nefesh, he had a ruach. He was about to get his neshama, and he broke. What's the power of Taharat HaMishpacha? If you could take that clip out of the whole shiur and just send that privately. It's going to be a very big siyata dishmaya. To Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya came a soul that used to come to him to get fixed, called Natan HaAzati. Nathan from Gaza. He wasn't a Palestinian, he was a Jew. He knew Kabbalah. He even had Ruach HaKodesh. But not everyone who has Ruach HaKodesh is the right guy. He came to Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya to get fixed. Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya said to him, I can't fix you. You've been in Kafakela for 300 years.
No.
Yeah, for 300 years they were in Kafakela. How am I going to fix your neshama? How? Tells him, please, you're Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya. If anyone could do it, it's you. So he said, I'm going to do something for you called Tikkun HaNiftarim. If you do this for a loved one that passed away a couple of times, even a person who was in Kafakela for 300 years goes to Gan Eden. You bypass Gehenom. You bypass everything.
Bypass, you were marinating again.
Easy pass.
Easy pass. No Gehenom. Straight.
It's possible.
Yeah. It's called Tikkun HaNiftarim. What do? This guy was in Kafakela. He made thousands of Jews convert. This guy was the Navi of the Mashiach Sheker. Shabtai Tzvi's prophet. He was his Eliyahu Navi. He says to him, I'm going to fix you. Because Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya fixed him, his son almost died that year. He lost all of his money. Because sometimes when you fix a soul that's not supposed to be fixed, from Shamayim they say, now we're going to take it from you. What did he do? He got 10 boys, 18 years old, under the age of 20. He got them in a shul. They all finished Tehillim. They did hakafot with shofars. And after every hakafah, they finished one book of Tehillim, hakafah. Shofar, hashkava. Another book of Tehillim, shofar, hashkava. Another book of Tehillim and light candles. Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. Like this. Shofar, Hakafar, Tehillim, Shofar, like we do in Lubavitch, but 10 times that. Imagine finish the book of Tehillim like that.
10 hours.
Like we do on
Yeah, it takes the whole day. Like it takes the whole day. After he did this tikkun for him, he sees Natana Azati going to Gehenom. And all the nishamot are coming to review the Abtai. He says, listen, this Rasha Mirusha, he was a slime ball. He was a trickster in this world. How did he get inside Gehenom? We're begging Hashem to go to Gehenom, begging. How did he trick you? And he got himself in there. For that you're going to pay. And that year was a very hard year for Rabbi Daftai. Baruch Hashem, nobody passed away. What I want to tell you guys. Tikkun niftarim, if he could get Natana Azati inside Gehenom, it could take our loved ones from Gehenom into Gan Eden, and they don't have to do anything. No Gehenom, no nothing, no Kaddish, you don't need nothing. You just need one day. But there's a catch. You have to do one tikkun for one dead person. You can't do one tikkun for 20 of them. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And if you do that, you could get... He says he took, in this book, Minchat Yehuda, he took Natan Ha'azati into Gehenom. Gehenom max your 12 months. The guy was in Kafakela for 300 years. Who knows, till Mashiach he was supposed to be in Kafakela. He got him in. So was the power of Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya. We could talk about Rabbi Yehuda for a very long time. But we're going to end it here. And we're going to say, may the zchut of Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya be magen alechem. You guys have a special connection to him because you guys are connected to me, which I'm connected to him. And you always have to know that whatever you do in this world, the smallest mitzvah creates the huge ripple effect in the olamot ha'elyonim. And this small thing that you think you do, you just in Shamayim, they're making a HELULA, a wedding. HELULA is a wedding. That's what a HELULA means. So zchut of that tzaddik, megen alechem. You guys over here who came, for sure you have a connection to Rabbi Yehuda Fetaya. May you have brachot, hatzlachot, zivugim agunim. May you guys have zera bar kayama. And may Hashem bless you with kol hatzlachot. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Hanan ben Akashia omer, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך הרבה עליהם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר, אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה ויאדיר קדש על ישראל.